Welcome to Youth Awake. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is Youth Awake, and we are live every Monday and Thursdays from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Thank you for joining us once again. And I will never let him go. Don't forget to call someone. Don't forget to text somebody. The Youth Awake, we are live and we are live for Christ. Tonight we have a very special guest in our studios. Thank you for sticking with us. Youth Awake is live and we are live for Christ. Tonight we have a very special guest in the house. Should I say a more than special guest in the house who's going to be a blessing to us? She's here to share her story with us. She's here to encourage us. She's here to share experiences with us. So I want to say thank you for joining us. Don't forget to share the page. Invite your friends to join us as well so they can also partake in this blessing. We are live also on YouTube. You can go on YouTube, type ADINKRA TV live on YouTube. Or you can download our app from the Play Store, from the Google App Store. That's ADINKRA on your app stores. I welcome you once again to the studios, and in the next minute I'll be introducing my guest for tonight. The Lord is my strength. He has filled me with His joy. So I'm happy, Lord. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy. Hallelujah, we cry you. Hallelujah. 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 All right, my guest for tonight, very special, wonderful lady in the house, and she's going to be a blessing to us, I believe, and I pray so. So if you're joining us, please, like I said, invite someone, text someone, let them know that Youth Awake, we are live, and we are live for Christ, as I always say. My guest for tonight is none other than, did I say Miss or Mrs. or sister or what do I say? My guest for tonight is Vanessa Morales. Thank you and welcome to our studios.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
All right. So it's your first time on Youth Awake. You want to tell us a little about yourself, your name? Am I mentioning your name right? Because I have an African accent. Am I saying the right name and all that?
Yeah. So my name is Vanessa Morales, and I'm from New York, from the Bronx specifically. I'm a mother of one child, and Also, Jane of many trades. So, a woman of many talents.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's interesting. I'm sure we'll go into most of the talents today as we talk
Maybe.
and stuff. Yeah. All right. So first of all, we got to start with the basics. What we are going through now and the things that we are dealing with, all this virus and all this stuff. First of all, how are you doing? How are you faring? How are you? Is the virus beating you up? Are you surviving well? How is it going for you?
I'm a very, very blessed individual.
Okay.
I have not been sick. I haven't encountered it in my family. Everybody's been good.
Right.
They've at least been scared enough to stay home and wear masks and clean their hands all the time.
Right.
And, I keep my child at home and I do what I can,
Okay. Right. And being with kids at home and your kids being home from work, from school, and I know you got to work and all that. How are you combining home learning? Is it stressful being parenting during this time and all that? Maybe there's some parents who are watching want to learn something from it.
It's very challenging. I think it's very challenging for everyone. I
Right.
never grew up thinking that I would be a teacher. I never wanted to be a teacher. I never thought of myself as very patient.
Right.
But it makes me look at myself and how I was raised and how much of that I carried into my parenting. And I give that to my child. And I have to stop and think. And sometimes I'm like, all right, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, or maybe I'm being too hard, It's a very extreme situation for everyone. And I feel like, I have to stop and think like, hey, you need a little bit more patience. Maybe go outside, go for a walk, come
Right.
back,
Right.
and, try again. But I expect a lot from my child, and I feel I got to ease up on her a little bit.
Right. You spoke about growing up and the things that you impacted your child. So you grew up in the Bronx, or
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Bronx.
right?
I was born in Jacoby. I grew up in the Bronx. I went to Holy Rosary Catholic School. I grew up in that church, and after that, I went to St. Catherine's Academy
Okay, cool.
for high school.
So I'm hoping or believing that you were born into a church system, family,
Yes.
and going to Catholic school and all that. How was that growing up in Catholic school? And
I mean, like,
those of us who went to public
we were
schools,
so lucky.
we say those who go to Catholic schools are like bougie and they are all that.
Yes.
So you had those encounters as well.
They're right. They're absolutely correct.
Okay, so did you have to? How was it? Was it easy for you because your family was maybe religious or something? So
My family was religious, but I feel like they didn't have the knowledge on how to teach it. So it wasn't the same because my parents were both from, another country. I'm first generation American, so they didn't have a way to teach it. It wasn't like ordinary here. I feel like when you're first generation, there's so many things abandoned because they're trying to conform into this new society. And then religion is one of those things. They don't see it around. And my family didn't have the support of many other family members that came along with it. So it was, I have to focus on making the money and raising everyone and taking care of children of different ages because I came from a blended family.
right,
So I feel for them, being in Catholic school killed two birds with one stone. I had better education and I had an education that showed me about religion and how to, behave and a kind of faith to follow. And I had that support system,
Right.
that they wanted for me.
right. So it's a Christian show, if I may say. So how important is the role of faith? That how important does it play in the upbringing of? Because most of the time we talk about people from our side of the world, Africa, coming here and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, that's all you have to do. Your parents, and is it the same in your culture as well? The importance that faith plays in bringing up a child and how the child should go and that direction within which the child should go.
I feel as though, in terms of my upbringing, I came from Hispanic parents,
Right.
right? So Mexican and Puerto Rican, they're very into their religion, right? Very faithful, always believing in God and, having their, Guadalupe in the corner and their candles and everything.
What's
And
that? What's that? What's
Guadalupe
yeah.
is the Virgin Mary in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Basically,
Right.
the Virgin of Guadalupe
Right.
in Mexico.
Right.
So it's just Mary's appearance in Guadalupe
Okay.
and the story behind that.
Right.
So
Right. Just because some of our audience wouldn't
yes,
know, wouldn't know
that's
what you're
true.
talking about.
I forget that
Right. Right.
we have similarities,
Right.
but not exact.
Right. Okay.
Things.
Okay. So it's like the statue. Normally, you go to some Spanish stores or something. See like a statue of Mary.
Yeah,
or-
if you see like a virgin or like a woman in like a veil with like bright shining stuff behind her,
Right.
that's supposed to be Mary,
Okay.
which is the mother of Jesus.
Right. Right. I'm sorry. So yeah, go ahead.
So, as I was saying, yes, it was important for them, even though my family didn't really practice like 100%. Like they weren't so adamant about always going to church. Like my mother was very different than my father. So my father always believed in church and the community of the church, and my mother was like, you don't really need that. I can do it at home. She very much was to herself as she is now. And growing up, I kind of got a little bit of both. I wanted the community and I wanted that from my daughter, but I also came into different obstacles with that.
Right.
I got my daughter into a Catholic school, which was great. One is the pricing, affordability, and the other one is, being accepted. I'm a single parent.
Right.
So people see someone who looks young and they have a judgment on you immediately. Like, oh my God, she's young. Like, what did she do wrong to have a child so early?
Right.
And not have a man by her side. So, there's so much judgment. And you can feel it. Even though they don't tell you to your face, you can feel judgment.
Right.
And, before I sent her to a school like that, I had already, rehearsed different, versions of, spirituality. And I consider myself spiritual.
Okay.
Even though I do believe in a God, but I feel like I make my own kind of beliefs and,
Right.
have that. So, having my child in a private school wasn't super important. I wanted the better education, but I also wanted her to have, certain types of people around her that would support that and
Right.
understand that.
Right. I'm gonna take you back again to your upbringing. So you went to Catholic school,
Yeah.
and then went through the. So then we could say that you were literally brought up within the same setting as home, because you say you had all this, Catholic Mary stuff in the house, and then you went to school too. So it was like a double down on your faith.
Kind of. I mean, I was always told that that's where I should be, but my parents didn't practice what they preached.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So, Catholic school is supposed to take care of that.
So does that affect the thinking of the child then? If you're, as a parent, you're preaching.
I think so, because, then you start having all these questions. It's not devoted, or, you start wondering like, well, you don't believe in it, or you don't do this, or you don't do that, but they do that. So why do I have to do it? Like, why do I have to get up early on a Sunday and go to church?
Right.
I don't want to do that. I want to play.
Right.
And as you get older, you realize different things that happen to you, and you look for an answer. And I think if your family or your parents, whoever's, guiding you in this life, are in the same faith as you, and they are actually, learning and growing within that same faith, they can help provide you with some kind of substance, some kind of literature that can help guide you into, what your questions might be, rather than just do it,
So it's like a dilemma of me, or you telling me what to do, but me not knowing why I'm doing it, or the reasons
partially
behind.
why, or just doing the opposite. It's a little bit more complicated if you're gonna go down that road. So I just feel like, everybody has their version of what they believe and what they feel is okay.
Right.
And this is where I have more comfort in saying that I am a spiritual person, because I feel like I'm very well versed in what, you know, the church has to offer and the literature has to offer, and how people want to interpret it and
Right.
what serves their purpose.
So the church, you within the same setting as you were growing up with family and everything, and then school, there was a church too. So there was a priest. There was
Yeah. Well, so the school has its own church,
right,
and you know, in school we went to church, and
Right.
then outside of it we were members of that church. So on the weekends we would go to that, or any holiday
Right.
we would go to that.
So my question is, some of the answers that you think should have been answered, and the questioning and stuff. If the parents or the family is not able to give you the solutions or the answers to those things, what about the church? Isn't that the basics of where, or the apex of where all your questions need to be answered? And
I believed that at some point, but I think that we also not only learn from, you know, school and being in a Catholic faith type of school, but we learn from what's around us. You know, we also see the virtues and vices of our family
Right.
members, and, you know, how they choose to handle that.
Right.
Or choose to teach you. I know there's some people that are do as I say and not as I do, and then there's other people that are just you know, we're doing this, you know, we're following the faith to a T. And
Right.
you know, with my family in particular, it was very much do as I say, not as I do. Actually, just read the Bible, do that, and don't pay attention to me, because I know I'm not doing the right thing.
Right.
But there was no reason behind that.
Right. So I'm going to bring you forward, and then we're going to go back again. So with that mentality, how then do you relate to your daughter, or to your child? Even not even your daughter, but anybody who's around you. Are you going to, how do I put it? Are you going to go the same route of telling them, as your parents did, do this and then just follow it?
No.
Or you're going to allow them and then see where things go? Because then that's where most of the kids or the young people now are, where there's like a dilemma of which way to go, especially seeing what's happening outside in your schools, in your church, well, not churches, but in your schools, at the playground, outside, anywhere, your friends, and then versus what's happening at home, you know?
No, I guess my answer would be that I would expose my daughter to it and have her, you know, see the qualities within it and what direction I would like her to take, versus, you know, really just taking from other people. And there's an initial good that you should have within you, and that I feel that everyone has, and you choose to either go with it or abandon it. And the way I operate with anyone that I encounter, you know, I treat them the way I feel they deserve to be treated, which is the same that I would want to be treated, with kindness. And
Right.
if she chooses not to be in that exact same faith, she would still have the core values, which I would be happy with, and I feel that she does take. And I think that that's something that definitely, you know, wasn't mirrored in my upbringing, but definitely something that I want to show in hers.
Right. All right. So, school, now it's back to you again. We went to school, and now you step out of school, you step out into the real world. You're out of that kind of capsule of, you know, going to Catholic school and trying to follow orders. Now at least you're old enough to see no right from wrong. When you step out into the world, what, you know, what are you taking? What mindset? Are you having the mindset of, you know, what I heard is not what those who taught me were practicing, so I got to find my own path? I'm gonna look for a different religion or a different kind of faith to follow? With what mindset you step out there? Because, you know, for your whole, I don't know, from you were born to like middle school, high school, you've been in the same capsule for a long time. So then when you step out there, is it like a time to explore? I don't know, you know what I mean?
Well, I didn't go away to college. I went to college locally.
Right.
So it wasn't like I was in a dorm and I was like, woo, party, party. It wasn't like that. I was very responsible. I always had a job. Even when I was in high school, I had a very well paying jobs. And that was my mindset. It was make money, get a good job, find the right person, settle down, and get married and have a family. And that was the upbringing. That's what was drilled into you, especially as a woman. Like, you needed to settle down with someone or you would not have value. You know, your value would decrease over time as you would age because you weren't tied to someone, or specifically a man.
Right.
And it was a struggle because you're trying to focus on, oh, am I making the right move, in my career, in school, and learning the right thing and getting something that would give me a good amount of money, but also trying to worry about, socially, what are you exposing yourself to try to meet that ideal mate.
Right.
And I feel like too much emphasis was placed on that. There was way too much emphasis
on the fact that you got to find someone
you have to
to
find
be
a man to
right.
be with.
Right.
And not enough where I specifically was taught, like, hey, these are the qualities that you should look for. This is what you should. I felt that if they instilled more value in us as females, that we wouldn't be so caught up in finding just a man. Because we got caught up in finding a man, so we found a man. We didn't get the right values within that man.
Right. So is that a cultural thing or is that a faith thing? Basically,
I feel
because
like
those of us coming from Africa and stuff like that, some cultures have the same kind of thing. As a lady, by the time you're at this age, you should be getting married, and if you're not getting married, your parents are already stressing you out, and even guys sometimes it happens, but mostly the ladies. So, will you attribute that to a culture thing or to a faith or religious kind of doctrine?
I think it's a little bit both, but more cultural, because even though it was in other cultures, in my friends' cultures as well, where they had the similar belief that you needed to have a male to like add value to your home, right? Because you cannot,
right,
procreate, you can't have children and everything if you don't have a man by your side.
Right.
You need that, and then you don't want to, have a child out of wedlock, those things. All those things.
Right.
And, I had a discussion with a good friend of mine that we spent so much time focusing on finding a guy that, we didn't really focus on our careers. We weren't hell-bent on our careers. And I'm not saying that one is more important than the other, but in hindsight, I feel that if we would have taken the time instead of just to appease our families and just have a career and have a good job, that we would have explored and found more of our passion and done that, and instead of going on detours,
right,
and we would have focused on a career that we could make it grow and flourish, and support our families, as well as finding this other partner. Is not just having a man in your life. What are the qualities? What do they bring to the table?
right,
Growing up, I always thought it was like a 50-50, a partnership, so to speak. And yes, it is in a certain way, but I realize now that we need to be 100% each, because at any given moment, when life takes a turn and goes and dips down or goes up, you are not equipped because you're relying on this person. Oh, he knows more of the finances, so I'm just gonna pay this. Well, what if he gets sick or something happens to him? I'm not saying that he's a bad person or anything like that, but things happen in reality. So how do you support each other? Maybe you're good at making money, but you're not good at handling the money.
right,
You're not good at investing it, saving it, or anything. You don't have money for the rent now.
Right.
You don't have money to pay the extra bills. You're handling parenthood. You're doing a lot of things that you didn't even think about.
So the culture of preparing our young ladies, so to say, Hispanic ladies, Latino ladies, African, Black, you think the culture of preparing them and giving them the mindset that You get to this stage, you're done with school, you got to find a man, and so you think the mentality affects young ladies in the wrong way?
Yes, I think both men and women are affected. I feel like each gender is given a role, and I feel like, we tell them, okay, women, you need to emphasize on finding a man, and that is the main goal. But in actuality, you should teach them to be independent to know everything that they need to know to take care of themselves. Because one, even men are not even taught. Some of them can't wash their own clothes. So you come in and you're doing 90% of the things in the household, and this, man is just sitting there, and I have a job and I have a check. Maybe it's as much as you make. Maybe it's more or less or whatever, but you're not bringing the same values. And I feel like you need to be independent and both bring the same value and work on yourselves, because now I feel that as a whole and as a trend, we're all going back and trying to heal from the brokenness, trying to learn and be more independent. We're learning how to self-love, when all these things we should have learned when we were much younger, rather than being older and going back and trying to repair these things. Now it's like, oh honey, you don't know how to love yourself, you don't know how to do this, you don't know how to do that. And some of us were blessed with great parents that did teach us this, but some of us were just kind of like left out with the wolves and had to figure out how to, care about ourselves and not make ourselves the person that has to make the other person happy, but be in charge of our own happiness.
Right.
And that's where I feel like a lot of relationships just end, because you're worried so much about the other person, you abandon yourself.
Right.
And you can't abandon yourself, right?
Right.
Because why? Because as far as I'm concerned, we're taught that, we're special. Our bodies are our temples. We need to nurture ourselves and care about ourselves and everything. But then, culturally speaking, you have no value because you don't have a partner.
Right.
So, what is it? Where are you exactly? So how can you be whole if you're only half of the person that you need to be? When you're in a marriage, you need to be a whole, complete person.
Right.
That's why I say you both need to be 100%. You shouldn't have to need your partner. You shouldn't need your partner to give you value. You should be complete.
Right.
And you can both really, truly share a life together rather than giving life to each other.
One thing was of our ladies or our parents, and again I'll be zoning in on the Latino culture, the African American, the minority. The idea that, you get to a certain age and you got to get married, you got to get settled down as a lady, and if you're not doing so, you're not like you're an outcast or something like that. You got to go to school, and you spoke about it, about building yourself and all that. On the other side, most people complain that it delays your time. So we have ladies in 30 something, 34, 35, still trying to finish off their PhDs and stuff like that. Don't forget, ladies have time clocks and for kids and all that. So you don't think it cuts both ways? I mean, it cuts both ways, where you either sacrifice one for the other, trying to build a career for yourself, especially in this day and age. It's harder for the ladies to move ahead. So would you rather that someone takes 35 years of your life trying to get herself together, than now who's going to marry you at that age? Or, you know what I mean? So how then do you bridge the two?
Well, I feel like there's so many answers to that, because there's so many moving parts in that question. Because yes, I do feel like you should go after your career. If it's going to be a PhD and you want to be a doctor, yes, I think you should go after that and not focus on men. Why? Because one, yes, it is a distraction, but not because, there's, it's just a party or a boy or anything like that. Along the way, you're building yourself to this level. You're polishing the jewel of yourself and to being this beautiful jewel that you can display. And that's going to bring attraction to it, right? Because if you have a beautiful diamond and you have other stones near it, you're not going to put some dull rock you found in a pond.
Right.
You're going to put other high-end jewelry next to it.
Right.
So your partner ideally is going to match that vibration. It's going to be there equally. So working on yourself only brings that likeness towards you. You know, whether yourself is, you know, being a PhD, being a doctor, or, you know, it's faith, whatever it is that your focus is, but getting to that point where you're focusing on that, because how does that take away from you later on? How does that take away from your family? It might take you a little bit longer and you're older, but you're going to have a man that wants those things,
Right.
rather than trying to find a boy and make him into a man.
Right.
So a man that is ready for that has all those qualities. He will have a career that will match yours. He will have, you know, the values. He will have had his partying and fun and everything. And you will have too. You know, I'm not saying we're promoting any promiscuity, but what I'm saying is that, you know, there's not the, oh, we've been together for 5 years. I think we did this a little too early. Maybe we need to get divorced.
Right.
And then you have 3 or 4 marriages in your lifetime, or relationships like that, where now, you know, you have a kid here, you have a kid there, and it complicates things. Even though you both might have had the same initial intention, you haven't allowed yourself to grow to that point to really take care of your own needs. If you don't take care of yourself and fill your own cup, you cannot give to someone else.
Right. I have this question from WhatsApp. It says, please ask her, does building yourself mean you are ready for marriage?
I think you have to build yourself up to be ready for marriage. I don't think that just because you're an adult, as soon as you're 18, you're seen as an adult, that you have magically everything that you need to be married. Some people do. Some people know what they want. You know, they meet their high school sweethearts and they just have that blessing. Some people do. But now in our society, especially here in the US, it's quite the opposite.
Right. Right. You could join in the conversation as well. You can send a WhatsApp message to 718-974-6930, and then we'll do that. Or you can leave a comment. If you're watching on Facebook, you could leave us a comment on Facebook, and then we'll read your comment for you, or your question. You can leave a question as a comment. Actually, you can leave your question as a comment on Facebook, and then we'll do that. Or you can send a message directly here to the WhatsApp line, and then we'll continue from there. We're talking to Miss Vanessa Morales, and she's giving us an inside scoop of some of the things that are being said. Somebody on Facebook says that's deep. That's true, 100%. I want us to, you know, step away from the marriage aspect, but it looks like we are dwelling on that a lot than other things. But I think it's a place that most of our people are struggling, because it's statistics show the divorce rate and, you know, depression in marriage and all that. It stems from that.
Yeah.
Wrong people, being with the wrong person, making the wrong choice or decision. My problem with this is, and I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but so it doesn't seem as if you cannot get it right when you're 25 or you're 24.
No, I don't think that's true. I just can only speak from my experience.
Right.
And I feel that I was raised to be very naive.
Right.
You know, rather than what are qualities that you want from your partner? What kind of marriage do you want? If that's your goal, some people don't want that. Some people do. When you're, you know, interconnected with faith, usually that is the goal. But, you know, what exactly do you want from your partner? Do you want somebody who's loving, or do you want someone who's more career focused and you want to be that power couple? What exactly do you want? I didn't know what I wanted. I thought, you know, you just meet someone, you fall in love, and everything just comes together. So in that sense, I didn't have an idea of what I wanted, so I didn't have direction. So I didn't know what I was getting. I was just, okay, someone likes me, we're going to try to make this work. I didn't know the difference between the two. I had to learn the hard way between quality and quantity.
Right.
You know, someone who just wants you for, you know, an attention for a short amount of time, whereas like some people actually want to build with you. You know, I saw everyone as the same. So it's just hard to differentiate the two, especially, back then. Now it's a trend of calling people out and certain things or labeling them.
Right.
But, back then it was just like, oh, you just meet someone, but people disguise themselves too. They will tell you what you want to hear so that way they can get the benefit from you, but not ever give you what exactly you're looking for.
Right. All right. There's another question from Facebook. Says how long should you be with someone before getting married to them? I think that's what you want to say. I'm paraphrasing. How long should you be with someone before trying to get married to them?
I think that you should try to figure out what you want from that person and figure out if you're ready. And if you're ready to find that partner, then you have to figure out, does this partner want what I want? Does this partner want 5 kids like I want, or just 1 child? Or they want to definitely, we'll get married, let's focus on our careers together, or a business together. You might want to think about what you want and how your lives are going to come together, rather than I just love this person, because love is not everything.
Right.
And do they have the same mindset as I have and want the same things? Can we grow in the same direction?
Right.
Because when it comes to this person is sacrificing what they want, or not even realizing what they want and just living my life, then later on it comes to resenting.
Right.
You as a partner, and eventually could break the marriage. Sometimes not. But you should really think about the quality of that person and
Right.
what they're trying to give you, especially also how they show affection. Some people show affection by working really hard, taking care of the bills, just giving you your space and time. And some people need that, I need a hug and I need a kiss. I need us to go on dates all the time.
Right.
And everything. It doesn't matter if you've been together 30 years. And I think couples that are there together for many years is because they realize that they have many things in common, but they also appreciate and balance the things that they have that are different. Your husband loves golfing. You don't like golfing, but you love your Sundays with your girlfriends.
Right.
And so you have the girls over and you do whatever you want to do. You talk, you knit, whatever it is that you want to do,
Right.
whether it's makeup, cooking. You have your own separate activities, and that's why I feel like you have to be individuals as well.
Right.
As coming together.
Right. I'll also move away from this because this is going to bring us so many questions, and I don't want us to stay here. I want us to move on to more other stuff because it's more interesting stuff that we want to talk about, and our time is running. The aspect of you in your case you got into marriage and all that. Then one thing that we can learn, and most people can learn, is you came out of it, or there was a break or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then you came out of it, and then you're still striving, or you're still moving, or you're still pushing on. How, as a general question, how do you even go about that in the first place before we even get to the into more details? Because you went into something. Most people come out of the relationship through a divorce or something, and then that's the end. Mm-hmm. They are.
So you want to know how I survived my divorce?
What's the mentality? What is the mindset behind? Like, how do you prep yourself to? I'm not necessarily
like the grieving stage of divorce.
Yeah, not necessarily the details of it, but how you said you had the mentality of not finding the wrong person just because family's pressuring you or religion is pressuring you. You did it because you. So then coming out of it or hitting the wall and coming back again. What's the mentality? What do you say to a young lady or a young guy who's going through the same stuff? How do you empower them to be able to overcome it and still move on?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what your family wants for you is the best, right? Because they all have the intention. Every mother wants a good partner for their child, whether it's a son or a woman. You want someone appropriate for them because you want someone that's really going to put their all into it and that truly loves them and will not want to hurt you. On the other side is, finding someone that suits you. And when I had gotten married, I fell head over heels. I was very in love, and I thought, that was it. We had our discussion. We thought we wanted the same things. ultimately, I feel like he took a different route. And I remember thinking, well, when I bring him home and introduce him to my father, I know my father will like him because he has a certain qualities that my father wanted
Right.
for me.
Right.
But I was excited because I finally found a person that fit the qualities my family wanted for me.
Right.
I was happy because I was fulfilling my parents' desires for me.
Wow.
Not once did I think I found the person I think would be suitable for me. I found the person that I thought my parents would think was suitable for me.
Right. Right.
So I was
Right.
still making someone else happy, and I'm not telling you that he was a terrible person, but he chose to make life choices that impacted us, my safety, my child's safety, when I thought that we had it all. I thought that we were that power couple where we were, investing in business. We didn't have to work for anyone.
Right.
We just had to put the blood, sweat, and tears in and grow, and reap what we sowed. And we were doing really good for a long time. I don't know what his mindset was when he decided to get involved in certain
And other
activities.
stuff. Yeah. Right. Right. So again, with all of these are all the expectations, and then the going up of the relationship. So when things began to go south, what did you? Somebody would say, I stuck to my Bible. I was in prayer. I was always singing. What are some of the things that is going to help you bring up? Because somebody might be going through the same thing out there and doesn't know what to do. They're just kind of stuck in the box.
I did that. I will tell you 100% I did that. I cried. I prayed. I locked myself in the bathroom. I would sneak out and, I would just drive away when we had our arguments, and I would go by the water and just cry and pray and think, how can I fix this? How can I make this right?
Right.
Again, trying to please someone else.
Right.
Not seeing and thinking this would be the worst thing that would ever happen to me. I was very unhappy, and I didn't want this person in my life anymore because of the direction that he was taking us on.
Right.
But I wholeheartedly, wanted what I thought we were building together.
Right.
And, I was at a point in those dark times where, and I say you have a good faith when you question it. I'm not saying you question, if God is there. It's more beyond that. Like,
Right.
sometimes I felt cursed or punished. What did I do to deserve this? And I would get angry, and I had those conversations.
Right.
But I also grew from it, and I have a deeper respect. And my conversations now in my faith and with God is not, why did you do this to me? It's, what lesson am I supposed to learn now?
Right.
It's a deeper faith.
Right.
It's
Right.
it's not, yes, before it might have seemed like, oh, you're being defiant. You don't care about God, or you don't really believe. It wasn't about that. It's more like, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? Because it doesn't look like I'm supposed to learn anything right now. But you go through it and you realize that, you have a little glimpse of light, and you just keep getting a step and a step and a step, and eventually you start to see a clearer picture of what the bigger picture is, what the true blessing is.
Right.
I was so sad, and I couldn't leave him because I thought, I left my job. I had no security. This man would try to control me to the point that he had enough power to have me never see my child again. And I couldn't have that.
Right.
And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And I argued and I argued, and I was questioning, and I was like, you hate me, God. Why are you punishing me? Why are you cursing me? But I also prayed. And it was a battle. I had to understand. It's like a child, they're going to, go through the motions when they're growing up. But as they get older, you
Right.
realize, what's going on. So that helped me. And I feel that also in that context, I did get what I wanted. He was taken out of my life. It was so painful.
Right.
I felt like I could die from a broken heart.
Right.
And it crushed me. It crippled me. I lost so much weight. I didn't eat. I couldn't do anything. I
Right.
had to call my mother for help because I saw myself becoming a zombie that I couldn't even help my child. Like, it was just, I would get up only because I knew I had to, but the human in me was not there anymore. It wasn't like, oh, my sweet baby. It was like, I have to feed the kid. Like a robot.
Right.
That's what I was. And I was just crying. I wasn't being a functional human being. And then knowing that I had to pack up all my things, all the material possessions that he had to have, I had to give away, sell, get rid of. It had no value for me.
Right.
None of those things had value. I didn't have my husband anymore. And the way he was taken from me was very abrupt and sudden. That
Right.
was the last day that I saw him, was a day that I was trying to do a last, let's go out together as a family. Let's try to, remedy the situation that we're going through. And in a way, I'm grateful for having that. But in a way, I'm also grateful that, God did rip him out of my life, because there was no way that I knew how to get away from him.
Right.
And I'm not saying that he was abusive, but the situation he put me in was very dangerous.
Right. So going beyond that point of now the decision or the mindset settled. I'm gonna be by myself. Was a single parent, as they call it, and all that. So then you have to bring up another mentality again, because faith took you through. You said you questioned God. You learned your lessons, and God taught you what you have to go through to get through that. And then now as a single parent as well. Sorry, struggles with being a parent by yourself. Is there that missing father figure? Do you find solace in family, in faith again, in church? How then do you build on to get where you are? Because now you're all glammed up and everything like that. Yeah.
I don't think that I'm glammed. I have makeup on, but that's just one of my talents. But I think another one of my talents is learning how to be strong and learning to be a hustler. And I mean that in the purest sense of surviving and providing, and
Right.
really relying on your skills and your talents to try to move forward. I had my time where I had to cry and I was broken and I was nothing. And I moved to Mexico for quite a while, months, less than a year. And my father begged me to come back. And I came back. And I am not a person that can sit around doing nothing. I am not a person that can just accept, well, this is just my life from now on. I was angry that I was a single parent. That's the whole reason why I had a child and got married. Why would I ever want to be a single mother if I've seen so many people, even my own mother, struggle being a single parent
Right.
at some point in their life? That's why I didn't have a child in my teens. I wanted to live my life. I wanted to grow, experience, and do all these things like everyone tells you to, and then finally get into a marriage. And sometimes things are out of your control, and that happens, and that's why you need to be independent and strong, because I had skills. Yeah, I didn't know what I was going to do. I did not like my job that I had before,
Right.
working in a law firm. So I decided I wanted to be the mother that showed my child to pursue her dreams. And I always loved makeup. I actually wanted to be a makeup artist for film and do special effects. That was my ultimate dream. I wanted to pack up my bags, go to California, and work in Hollywood
Right.
with all these amazing actors and stunt doubles. And I thought that was great. Horror movies were great. Marilyn Monroe was amazing. All these things were just everything. I loved it. And that's why I loved movies so much. And, I knew that I wasn't going to have that, but I could still be in the industry and be in the world. So
Right.
one of the dreams that I wanted and spoke about was, having my own salon, having a shop, and all those things. So you need an esthetician's license to do that. So that's called an appearance enhancement license.
Okay.
So in school, you learn a lot of chemistry and everything, and how to deal with different chemicals, how it affects the skin, the body, and you can get deeper. That's one of those careers that you need to have continuing education, as to teach you many different other skills. It's
Right.
not just you go to school and that's it. So I love to learn. It's just kind of an addiction of mine.
Right.
Where I will always have another class that I take and learn and learn and learn. So I learned about skincare. I learned about makeup, which I already had that knack of makeup. I've been doing
Right.
makeup for years. And I learned how to do different skills, and I learned that. And, I applied that. And I also had to break out of my shell. I was a very quiet, shy person. But I was like, well, I can't teach her to be an outgoing person by not being outgoing. Because that's what my parents did. They told
Right.
me what to be, but they didn't teach me how to be.
Right. Right.
So, I went, and I always thought about my daughter, what I wanted for her, so that way she could have all these tools and make her own life. And I knew that at some point she would have heartbreak. She would encounter these things, but she can always rely on herself and look within herself.
Right. So you found a motivation to get on and to push on in your daughter. And
Yeah, I
the
feel
stress.
like my daughter gave me a sense of direction where I thought would be like the worst thing that would ever happen to me was being a single mother. I feel was probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
I feel that my blessing was that I didn't have to share her with someone. I didn't have to have constant arguments about,
Right.
or am I going to have the kids this weekend, or can you watch them, or whatever. It's just mine.
What about since it's an open show, I know people are watching on or listening on the radio. What if someone who doesn't have
A child.
a child? Yeah. Do you have any wise words to how they can? Because do you need first of all, do you need to find something as a motivator to push you ahead? Do you need like that particular thing, like in your case where you had a daughter?
I feel that because I didn't explore my passions, because if I would have been 18 and stopped living for other people and taking care of other people's needs, I would have just gone and dealt with that.
Right.
And then obviously I would have encountered situations where I would have to grow up,
Right.
and there would be great and bad situations, but I would have been in my career. I probably would have been. Knowing my
Right.
ambition,
Right.
I would have been a really well-paid
Right.
artist. And, now you have everybody on YouTube doing makeup tutorials. They all look exactly the same, just in different colors.
Right.
We didn't have that. I got inspiration from magazines and movies like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do this look. And everybody's like, oh, wow, like your makeup, it stands out, or, it does this. I'm like, well, it's Halloween. I want to look like this. And it was an art. It was a true form of art. It wasn't a copy.
Right. All right. Our time is going up. Let me see what's happening on Facebook.
Is there anything?
Emmanuel, thank you for joining us. Emmanuel Ifrie, thank you for joining us. I'm watching you. Emmanuel Kofi, thank you for joining us as well. Domina Williams, thank you for joining us. Linda, thank you for watching. Marian, thank you for watching. Ikia Aman, and I'm sorry, last name I can mention it. Thank you for joining us on Facebook as well. We have like 5 minutes, I think.
Okay.
To go. I think we'll have to bring you back so we can talk about being a mom, and the things that you have to go through. Because someone told me that one of the challenges of our young ladies that they can face is single parenting. And I've got the exact number. I have to bring the article maybe on the show that shows the exact number. It's about 60 or 70% of ladies who end up as single parents first. It slashes their chance of making it by like 50%. So it's once you get into that state of being a single parent, it's harder to overcome and become a career lady or somebody better in future. So we'll talk about that and how you're able to still do your career. You do like career 3 or 4 different things and then still maintain that. So we'll talk about that. But right now, what do you do for fun? What do you like to do just to rewind and relax and chill?
I try to get to know people as much as I can.
Right.
I always have some kind of self-help book. Right now I'm focusing on my finances and fixing all the things that I need to fix and learning them properly. I'm very interested in real estate. I want to know about real estate in terms of like owning, so I can have a business that is mine, and what are the costs behind that,
Right.
and getting to that, and partnerships. Well, I do have experience in some of that.
Right.
And also having my own home, because now that I'm older and I have accomplished so many things and I like I said, I have many talents. I can bank on that and try to, get a home when I never thought that I could be able to do that by myself.
Right.
So I'm realizing that I didn't need anyone in my life to accomplish my goals and my dreams.
Right. I think we spoke a little while back about you trying to do a whole podcast and a show and all the good
Yes.
stuff. What is the plan?
Well, I don't know. We'll see how people receive me on this one, and if they have any questions, I guess I will come back and visit if you really want me to. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And I would love to talk about, little things that I do. I love building things. I'm very crafty. I'm very artistic, but
Right.
I also, know a lot about beauty and skincare and taking care of your body.
Right. We'll do that. We should do like a tutorial thing here where you could teach.
I'm not
so
teaching makeup.
You might have to bring like my color kind of makeup stuff here, but but we'll figure that one out. But was interesting talking to you and having you in the studio. I know there's a lot of things to talk about. I couldn't really get through all the questions and stuff like that. Now also thank you for joining. You're late. But no also thank you. But like I said, we'll try to see if we can come back, especially with being a career lady. You do makeup, you do pre-hospital care, EMS, you do what else you do? Now you want to do into real estate and all that. So how you able to channel all those things and bridge all those things and also taking care of?
I eventually want a restaurant, a cafe. There are things that I want to invite my friends in on.
Right.
Because I believe you got to share the wealth. These are also very hardworking friends that would probably be interested in working with me.
Right. So like making a what do you call that thing?
A community.
Community to connection to do stuff with people and make money.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
Come on, let your beat get heavy. Let's go. Come on. Somebody make some noise in here. Come on, catch it, Jehovah. I trust in you. Oh Lord, say it. Jehovah.
All right. Thank you guys for watching us tonight. Before Miss Vanessa leaves the studio, she's gonna tell us the final words.
Say it, everybody. Say it.
Anything, encourage anything to bless us before we go. So we'll do that before we go.
I trust in you. Yo, got your part over here. I can't hear you. Come on, say it. I trust. Say it. In you. I believe. Say it.
We'll be back next week, same time, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. with something more exciting and something more interesting. Hopefully we can bring Vanessa back, but we'll work on that as well. But before we go, Vanessa, you want to tell us anything before you leave?
Just, work on your dreams and make yourself happy, and you will find the path that you need to go on.
Okie dokie.
Everybody get radical for 30 seconds. Come on. Dance on the devil's head. Come on. Come on. Y'all ain't radical enough over here. Balcony, I can't feel ya. Move your feet. Everybody, let's go. I see you back there. Balcony, y'all gotta come on.
All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week, same time. God bless you, and always be safe.
So long.